Amogus, 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 Amungus, Pokemongos, Sus. Hello everyone, I hope that you're having a great day, because today, for me, is a really good one. Because today I'm finally making this video. In the past video, we managed to reach the goal of 20 likes. So today, I'm bringing to you the part 2 of giving every single type a new Mega Evolution. If you want to see the first part of the video, or if you want to know the rules, go check it out in the upper right corner. And if you want more content like this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Not only helps to the growth of the channel, but also helps a lot of other people to find out about this channel that could have content that may have love. And without further ado, let's start with... First things first, we should set the ground with a great typing. And because I love the puns, we should start right now with the ground type. This typing is historically considered one of the, if not the greatest offensive typing, and it has also had some of the most iconic Pokemons of all time. So obviously, it wasn't an easy choice to decide which Pokemon deserves to be the representation for this typing, with Pokemons like Golurk, Gliscor, and Whiscash, but out of all the options, I thought that the one that was most fitting for this typing was Excadrill. The Drillmon has always been in some way an important Pokemon, either being a really solid suicide leader with Stealth Rock, or being a sweeper thanks to its insane role in Sand Teams, or even standalone thanks to Moldbreaker. But with the fall of Sand Teams, bring by the power creep suffered by Tyranitar, and overall not being the same type of meta threat that he used to be, Excadrill has been in a weird middle ground all of this generation. Too good to find a great role in a lower tier, but not good enough to be a staple in any of the top tiers. Being such an iconic Pokemon by the standards of being a Pokemon of such a recent generation in Gen 5, combined with an actual legitimate chance of making him meta viable once he gets a new Mega, and having the theme of being partially a drill, which would benefit him a lot in potential new designs, I think that he clearly deserves the spot, and that he clearly would be a great representation for a potential Mega for the ground type. And now, here comes the strongest type, outside of the Steel type and the Fighting type, and according to the viability ranks, all of the other typings. Yeah, this is the weakest. Here comes the one and only Rock type. One of the main reasons as to why I decided to slightly change some of the rules was because of the Rock type. Not having the fossils for the previous videos made my decision much worse, but now I did allow it fossils, which made my job an easier one. Why? Because from the get-go I was crystal clear as to which was going to be the Pokemon that I was gonna choose. I was just doubting which of these primary candidates would be, and it's because Aurorus and Tyrantrum are the by far most interesting cases for being the Mega of the Rock type. And after debating it with myself, I said, you know what? Why not both? And it's that both of them makes so much sense to have a Mega that is simply hard to justify not putting one nor the other. They're a duo which has equal importance according to the lore. Not like Gen 1 where Aerodactyl was privileged over the others. Also, both of them have legit arguments even if they are by themselves. Both of them representing the most iconic prehistorical creatures in the dinosaurs has given a lot of extra arguments for being the Megas of this typing. Not only that, but also both of them being Pokemon from Gen 6, the generation that is being represented in Pokemon Legends C2A, has gave them a massive boost in my books. And combine that with the biggest potential out of any fossil to having a great new design, it was impossible for me to justify any of them being left out. And that's why, for the first time in this series, we have an actual legitimate tie. Rock type had to be special in some way, for once. And the honorable mentions would go to Omastar, Kabutops, Rampardos, and overall, all of the fossils. Oh wait, this is not a bit of Animal Planet. Bug type. The typing that, all over the years, had been related mostly with weak early game Pokemons. A typing that most people overlook when we are talking about Megas. However, I don't understand why. I think that there's a couple of really solid options for the bug type. But, just like in the Pseudo Legendaries video, this was the easiest decision in the entirety of the video. And it's because I choose Yanmega. From the first time that I thought about it, I knew that Yanmega was a no-brainer. It has everything to turn into a legitimately great Pokemon, just with the need of a small push. Having both Speed Boost and Tinted Lens is a clear sign that they wanted to give it something special. But maybe because he came out in Gen 4, they were too scared of making it too overpowered. But now, 5 gens later, I don't think that they would put a justification to keep those restrictions on it. And overall, it's a Pokemon that you want to give it a Mega. Strong, but not strong enough to have never been an actual meta threat. A really cool and really beloved design. And you know, the little detail that he's called Yanmega, which means that they literally wanted to make it some sort of Mega Pokemon. Look, in Japanese is even more obvious because they called it Mega Yanma. Is as clear as water that this Pokemon is the main candidate to becoming a new Mega for the bug type. Some honorable mentions would go to Golisopod, Axelgor, Venomoth, and Ledian. And now, my next trick is gonna be bend this spoon. I can't. Please, someone help me. Oh, thank you. Hi, Psychic type. A typing that has been historically related with special attackers. And more special attackers. Thanks to the fact that the Psychic type was the original best typing in the game, there's a couple of good reasons as to why they deserve a proper representation. And there's a couple of good options that can justify it. Pokemons like Xatu, Indeedee, and Hypno are really legitimately solid representations of what the typing can have. But if there's something that I know about the Psychic type, is that they have never need to be fast. And for some reason, they have never embraced that. And that's why I decided to embrace it with one Pokemon in Rheoniclus. Rheoniclus is a strange case. In the same way as most Psychic Pokemon, its best stat is actually special attack. But then he goes and it's focused in the tankiness, having its second highest stat is HP. Other than that, we have a lot of mediocre to bad stats and an absolutely abysmal speed. And with a Pokemon with such characteristics, I think that he just needs a small push to turn into a legitimately good Pokemon. You don't even need to change its abilities, because both Magikarp and Regenerator are two of the greatest abilities in all of Pokemon history. And he just casually has both and he's not good, so I don't know what to tell you. By just giving it an extra bulk and obviously extra special attack would be more than enough to turn into a legitimate threat in Trick Room teams. And combining that with a design which is perfect for giving a Mega evolution, I think that he's just a perfect guy to have a new Mega. And look at him! He's so cute! He might say no to that face. He's like, can't you say no to him, really? Sorry. But yeah, I think that he just deserves it. And he deserves to be finally important after all of these years. Pam pam param pam param pam param pam 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 para pam param pam param pam pam paranana tam paranana paranana tam param pam param pam paranao paranao tururu 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 tutu. The fighting type, as its name spoils, has been mostly related over the years with fighters. Throughout the years, they have been mostly physical attackers, but in more recent generations, they have been adding more and more dual threats. Even then, most of the Pokémons had been kept faithful to the whole concept of the fighting type. And being one of the most unique typings in its sheer concept, I think that they deserve a really good representation. That's why some of the honorable mentions will go to Hitmonchan, Hitmontop, and Phalanx. But wait! You didn't mention one Pokemon in the honorable mentions. If it wasn't obvious, the choice for this typing is gonna be Hitmonlee. Even though Hitmontop has been more iconic in the competitive scene, and Hitmonchan has been more iconic in the casual scene, I think that is a great reason as to why the Hitmonlee deserves its spot over his brothers. The concept design for Omega is really easy, just giving it a new type of fighting or making a more adequate one for the one that he's representing. But we know that the biggest issue with this Pokemon has always been its abilities. Only Unburden has been seen in some capacity with the sets of Hitmonlee. Even if you wanted to use it with its other really good ability in Reckless, he pretty much learns only one move that actually works with said ability. If you gave it extra speed and either gave to him more moves that work with Reckless, or gave it a new ability like Tough Claws, or an actual new ability that works with kicks, that would pretty much solve most of the issues that the Pokemon has. And as I'm saying, it just makes sense to give it something else. Hitmonchan has the Iron Fist ability, and Hitmontop has Intimidate, so giving it something unique to Hitmonlee, it just makes all the sense in the world. There's a lot of scary things in life. For a lot of young people, there's the fear of the heights. To a lot of older people, there's stronger fears, like fear of spiders or even snakes. For me, it's the fear of not making the end of the month because I have debts that are so big that are crippling me fears. Oh my god, please somebody help me! But the most primal fear out of them all is definitely the fear of darkness, and its representation in Pokemon as one of the coolest and most iconic designs of the entire of the franchise. Most of the Pokemons of this typing have either the fear factor or they are really mischievous and deceiving Pokemons. Out of all of them, the one that I think that represented the best this typing would be the intimidating Mightyena. It's an early Pokemon that you can get as fast as your first route in the Ruby and Sapphire games. And as such, it makes sense that it wasn't a great Pokemon from the get-go. But we are no longer in 2003. Over 20 years had passed, and I think that that's more than enough to give it a little bit of love. And he also has some decent advantages. Having mediocre but balanced stats means that you can make pretty much whatever you want with him. And also, being based in a canine and having already a good foundation of abilities, it means that pretty much you can play whatever you want with it. While also, having a basic but really effective design means that you can play really wild games with its new model. I just hope that it's not in the furry type of wild, you know. But seriously, I think that with such an iconic design, Mightyena deserves some love. My honorable mentions would go to Liepard, Honchkrow, and of course, Weavile. Spooky skeletons. I don't know the rest of the song. From one of the primal fears to one of the most iconic acquired ones, we go to the Ghost type. Historically related with low health Pokemon and souls possessing stuff, the Ghost type has always had a creepy theme surrounding it. That's why I decided to go with the Ghost type with the highest HP that I could find in Drifloon, having both abilities and moves related with the dead, an ominous presence, and one of the most creepy Pokédex entries ever. I think that he clearly represents what the scariness of the Ghost type could be. And with those things in mind, I think that he deserves a spot. Some honorable mentions would go to Dusknoir, Shedinja, and Houndstone. After going throughout the strongest typings, and also the scariest ones, we're gonna slow down a little bit. If the Rock type has been historically the worst typing competitive wise, I think that the Poison type would be the type that most people would forget about. But the advantage of having a typing that most people tend to forget is that once you dig a little bit into it, you understand that there's actually a lot of solid options. Pokemons like Dragalge, Drapion, or even the Snake duo in both Arbok and Seviper. But if there's a Pokemon for the Poison type that can bring the Mega potential to its fullest, it's definitely Toxicroak. This Pokemon is the perfect representation for the Poison type, also known as the type that represents perfectly your Edge partner. First, it has solid stats that can be boosted in whichever way you want. As an ability, you can keep Poison Touch, or even, just looking at its design, it would make sense to give it something like Adaptability. That is without taking into consideration the fact that this Pokemon has probably the most potential for a cool design. I think that Toxicroak takes the cake as the best option for the Poison type. Once again, just like with the Pseudos, we finish with the most recent typing. And in that, it just makes sense, leaving at last the Fairy type. A typing mostly based in cute Pokemon, like Sylveon, Comfey, Enamorus, Granbull. Wait, did I say cute? This typing, even though it has a really small history, has actually a lot of legitimately good options to take into consideration for a Mega. Pokemon such as Wigglytuff, Azumarill, and even Carving could have taken the cake, and not talking about all creamy, for being the new Mega for this typing. But if there's one Pokemon that deserves this spot over the others, it's undeniably Florges. They clearly intended to do something interesting with this Pokemon, but at the end of the day, they decided not to. And yeah, I believe that this Pokemon is perfect for a Mega. Having both a move pool, a stat spread, and design that clearly screams to you Fairy, and yeah, I'm gonna die on the hill that she represents the Fairy type, not the Grass type. Nope, nope, no, no, no. Besides, pretty much every other Fairy type feels like it's already complete in its team, while Florges can be expanded even further in its design. No, not the design of Flower, no, the clearly fairy one. And knowing how Game Freak loves to give some love to its fairies, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they decide to give multiple Mega slots for the Fairy type. But if there's one that clearly deserves it, that Pokemon is called Florges. Thank you guys so much for watching, I hope that you all enjoyed it, and as I said previously, if you want more content like this, just leave a like. After all, the content I do is not for me, but rather for you all. So, without anything else to explain, I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and see you next time. Bye bye!